Hi, I'm Joanna Bieszczat, and welcome to this video in which you're going to learn how your self-esteem affects your life. It's important as there are probably areas in your life that you don't even realize are affected. And if you haven't identified what is affected, then you can change it. You'll keep living the same life. By the way, this masterclass is part of my online course, which helps people to improve their self-esteem, and you can find a link to it below. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below so you won't miss my helpful tips. So, without further ado, here's my promised masterclass. Enjoy it. In this masterclass, I'd like to talk to you about why improving self-esteem, reducing the critical voice, and overcoming the feelings of being not good enough is so important. I'll give you some common examples how this can affect your life so that you can fully understand what you can achieve when you start working on boosting it. And trust me, your life will dramatically change in all areas when you start waking up feeling good enough, when you'll eliminate the self-critical voice, and when you'll start feeling genuinely good about yourself and your life. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. The most common areas of life that are affected by low self-esteem or critical voices, etc., are work or academic work. For example, if you think you're not capable or not good enough or not smart enough, you'll unconsciously do things to prove to yourself that you're right. You might not try new challenges at work as you believe you won't be able to learn as quickly as others, or that you'll embarrass yourself, or that people will find out that you're not as good as they think. Your career might become more stagnant as you won't be going for better jobs, as you'll quickly talk yourself out of even sending a CV or application, thinking that they'll pick someone else, or that they'll think it is embarrassing that you even went for this job, and so on. In terms of academic work or even at work meetings, people with low self-esteem don't ask questions as they think others will think their questions are silly or they show lack of knowledge. So those are just some common examples how your work or academic work can be impacted. Which actually, the last example, not asking questions or participate in class or work meetings, leads us nicely to another area that is often quite problematic for people with lower self-esteem, which is social situations. People who have low self-esteem tend to be anxious in social situations as they perceive them as a threat, as others can judge them and find out about their shortcomings or their flaws. Often, people worry about making a fool of themselves, saying some wrong things, offending someone, or saying something stupid. So in order to protect themselves, they either avoid social situations altogether or try to prepare themselves for such situations. For example, by coming up with topics of conversations beforehand, running possible conversations in their head, or thinking of questions to ask, or not saying anything if in a larger gathering, or placing themselves in the corner, or dropping their head down to minimize the chance of being approached. Often people also stay in their head. And what I mean by this is when in social situations, they constantly worry how they are coming across and worry of being perceived as silly, stupid, incompetent, or wonder if they are blushing, and so on. So their attention is focused inward, which actually makes it more difficult to follow conversations and engage in them as we lose track of what was said and we are too focused on our anxious thoughts. Another common behavior that people with low self-esteem do is coming back home after social outings and analyzing every single conversation in their heads, often thinking, "Oh my goodness, I shouldn't have said that. What will they think of me?" Or, "That was such a stupid thing to say," or, "I should have said this instead of that," and so on. And the problem is that we're social animals. We want to have connections with people and socialize and build relationships. But if we are socially anxious, we take away the whole joy of doing it and also restricts us to how big our social network is. Wouldn't it be nice to go confidently into social situations, chat to people, laugh, and have a good time? Well, It is possible to achieve that with building a healthier self-esteem. I can give you an example from my personal life as to how things changed for me. I still remember many years ago, before I worked on my self-esteem, feeling anxious about making a fool of myself in certain situations. For example, I used to worry about finding toilets in public places. It may sound silly, but it is a real worry for a lot of people. And it was for me. If I was in a pub, for example, I would ask the person I was with to describe to me the exact route to get to the toilet, with details. And you know what my worry was? That I'll go somewhere through the wrong door and end up in a place I shouldn't be, like behind the bar or in the pub kitchen, and that every single person in the pub will see my faux pas and will think that I'm stupid and will laugh at me. Now, as I think of it, it seems so silly. But that wasn't the case a few years ago. It really stressed me out and would impact my decisions where I would go. I was more comfortable going to places where I knew where the toilets were than to new places. This worry was really shrinking my world. And the only thing that I can think of that truly helped me on that front was improving my self-esteem. I can now walk into wrong places, trip in front of others, walk into things, spill things, drop things, you name it. And I feel okay about it. I actually find it funny nowadays. I no longer worry what others think of me or that they'll judge me, as I have this deep sense inside of who I really am, and it is a positive image. I know I'm a good person. I know I have a lot of good qualities. I know that my intentions are always good, that I try to be a nice person, that I care about others, and so on. And that positive sense of myself is now enough for me to feel comfortable in various situations and to be able to walk with my head up when looking for toilets in places nowadays without a care in the word. Okay, so another example of how low self-esteem can impact your life is romantic relationships. When we feel not good enough, it's quite difficult to put ourselves out there and open up and be vulnerable with another person. We worry that they'll find out we're not that great or that they'll find someone better. I've noticed my clients who had low self-esteem experience more feelings of jealousy, for example. When we feel bad about ourselves, we become insecure. We don't like ourselves and we think that others won't like us too, and that they'll reject us, or as I said before, that they'll find someone better. It can be very upsetting and painful for a person to go through it and experience these emotions. Also, unfortunately, sometimes we may even choose partners that are critical or don't treat us well, as that's what we are familiar with. If we constantly criticize ourselves and put ourselves down, we might be drawn to people who will be doing exactly the same thing to us. So, our choices of romantic partners might be impacted by our low self-esteem too. Okay, another example what low self-esteem can do to us is impact on our finances. And we touched on this when we talked about the impact of low self-esteem on work. When we have low self-esteem or doubt ourselves, we tend to go for lower paid jobs than to what we are capable of actually achieving. We may not apply for certain jobs as we automatically assume we won't even get the interview, or that we will not be able to perform the job even though our work experience says otherwise. Or we shy away from job interviews, or when in an interview we are unable to present all our strengths in a convincing way. I can tell you what happened to me when I worked on my self-esteem. I doubled my salary. I also later quit a job that was very stressful and built a private practice, which I find not stressful at all, and I love my job. You see, when you have healthy self-esteem, you value yourself more, and you don't put yourself through any unnecessary stresses. You do more things that are good for you, which leads nicely to another thing that is impacted by low self-esteem, which is your mood. Let me ask you, how do you feel when you constantly criticize yourself, or ruminate over mistakes you made, or situations that make you cringe thinking about where you feel you embarrassed yourself? How does it make you feel? Not great. Or all the anxiety that you might feel in social situations or just even anticipating them. What is the feeling? Not a good one. So you can see that if you have low self-esteem, you are more likely to experience negative emotions. But the good news is that low self-esteem is not something rigid, something fixed, something you are stuck with for life. Self-esteem can be easily changed with some effective techniques, but you'll have to put some work in the next few weeks. It's worth it though, as when you take care of it once for all, it will stay with you. So, it is some work that needs to be done initially, but when it's done, and it will transform all the areas of your life we mentioned before. Imagine having a great romantic relationship if you desire one, having a job you love and the one that pays you well, not having the critical voice in your head and instead just appreciating yourself and feeling good enough, doing things that you always wanted to do but you didn't as you were worrying about embarrassing yourself, trying this dance class or knitting group or singing in the choir or joining local paddleboarding group or book club or learning a new language or any other new skill. Just imagine how your life would be different, how much more enjoyment you'd have. And I always say, we have one life, so we better make it a good one. And I strongly believe that it is up to us to create a life we want, that we have the power to actually do that. I hope you enjoyed this masterclass. If you'd like to find out more about how you can boost your self-esteem and confidence, please follow the link below this video that will take you to my online course. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below so you won't miss my helpful tips. See you there.